It's going to be a hard day's night, and we'll be handicapping like dogs. Unfortunately, our guest couldn't make it this evening, so apparently Andy had some other issues that she had to attend to. So it's just the four of us, and as I put in the description, it is the Beatles of handicapping. So let's go. Who's who? I'm going to go. I think Tom is hands down George Harrison. What do you guys think?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
What do you think, Tom? He was the coolest one of the group, no?
Yeah.
So Sean's Ringo Starr.
Oh yeah, why is that?
Well, he was the one with the personality, right?
Oh, okay, that'll be the first time that's ever said.
All right, then you're not. Then you're the weird one. Then you're John Lennon. How about that? There, and then Terry, you get Ringo Starr then.
That's right. I'm more of a Ringo Starr guy.
Yeah, and I guess that makes me
Drummer.
Paul McCartney. So I'm dead. Paul is dead. All right. So tonight we do not have a guest, unfortunately. So it's just the four of us. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Pacific Classic weekend. A lot of big races. The biggest weekend of racing at Del Mar to wrap up the summer. So the question is, it might be the biggest race at Del Mar, but it might be the most uneventful in terms of the way it plays out. And then a couple of other races surrounding the Pacific Classic. Before we get to that, Thomas, kind of an interesting day this morning at Kentucky Downs, no?
Oh, yeah. It's started out very chalky and then turned to the usual Kentucky Downs. Whatever happens, happens.
Lots of explosions. Well, we talked about it in the beginning that we'd probably avoid the vertical bets and stick with in-race bets. And I think if people did that and followed what we did today, they probably came away pretty happy.
We did pretty well, actually. We had a few nice ones and decent prices. And the one that was the most interesting one was the Mandolin's Secret, who was down towards a favoritism and then drifted up to 7-1 at the end, and then ended up winning. And I'm like, okay, that was a little strange. Because it was 7-2, 4-1 at one point, and then it drifted up to 7-1, and I'm like, oh,
something's wrong.
It made me think about it, but I stayed with my bets because I really thought that was the best horse in the race.
Paid out for you. All right. Well, tonight we're going to talk about the best horses at Del Mar. Sean, tomorrow night, before we move on, real quickly, we're going to start our NFL show. Tomorrow's going to be the preseason kind of preview of the NFL. We'll take a look at some futures bets. Look at the division winners, look at the teams we think might make the Super Bowl. And then are we going to look at the first week's game, Sean?
No, we'll do that next week.
Next Friday?
Yeah. We'll
okay.
Next Friday.
All right. So next Friday, we'll have our first weekend of picks. So we're going to be like way ahead, Sean, like that? That doesn't make sense to me.
What do you mean when I'm be way ahead?
So we're going to pick on Friday for the upcoming Thursday and then the following Sunday? That doesn't. No.
You can do whatever you want, but I know we were doing our season predictions tomorrow, so
we can do 2019 games.
We can do our season. We should do our season predictions, and we can predict Thursday as well, and then Friday we'll still be ahead for Sunday. So,
right, that's what we'll talk about it off air. You just confused me. There you go.
That's what I'm here to do.
You're going all John Lennon on me. All right, so first race we're going to do tonight is let me pull this up. I don't want to be just me. Come on now. Where are you at? There you go. Cooperate. Is the Del Mar Caesar Sportsbook Derby. It's a grade 2. Purse of $300,000 for 3-year-olds. They're going to run a mile and the 8 on the turf. Taking a look at the pace setup for this race, I don't really see personally what I would call a true front runner. So I think there's a door open for a horse or two maybe to get to the lead and try to steal this race with some modest pace. Do any of you guys agree, disagree with me? What do you guys think?
I agree. There's
zero pace in this race. I mean, I couldn't pick a front runner out of this bunch.
It was tough.
It's just like a clump of horses and then a couple trailers.
A clump and trailers. I agree. That's a good way to describe it for sure. All right, Sean. So why don't you kick us off in terms of what you like in the Del Mar Derby, this grade 3 race, the beginning of 3 grade races in a row?
So I did think it was a paceless race. Now, Slow Down Andy would be probably the one to go for the lead, but it is his first time on turf, so you don't know there. And any other horse that could go for the lead is number 8, Barsabos. Neither one are my picks. So my top pick is number 3, War at Sea.
So won 3 races. Before you go on, Shawn, though, what do you guys think about all these Kentucky Derby, horses that were on that trail now heading on over to turf races, and some have had some success? Crickets. All right, Shawn. War at Sea.
I was waiting for somebody else to jump in there. To answer, I mean, each horse is different with that. Slow Down Andy, I don't know. Tom could talk more about the breeding on Slow Down Andy, whether this is going to work or not. It might work in here for pace-wise. But I went number 3, War at Sea. Won 3 races in a row. Is ahead away from making it 4 in a row. He's improved his speed number in each of his last 5 races. Last year, he started his career on dirt and wasn't successful at all in 3 starts. Came back this year, has been racing exclusively on turf, done very well. Mike Smith's been aboard the last 3 races, which all were victories, and he's aboard again Saturday. And then second, I went number 1, Cabo Spirit. Loves the turf, winning 3 of 6 races and never finishing outside the trifecta. Can run any style, which is good in this race, because I think this horse can be one of those that maybe sits 3rd or 4th off those couple front runners and could go from there. And this is another one that's improved his speed number each of the last 5 races. Then third, I went number 7, Mckinnon. Had some issues his last race where he had to steady like twice. He ended up out of the money, but 3 horses from that race came back to win. The turf races before that were really good, so with a clean trip should be able to perform really well.
All right, Terry. Now, I know you've had a hard time remembering a few important things today.
Yeah.
But do you remember your picks?
I do. I like number 7, Mckinnon. He finished in the money in 6 out of his 9 career races, and he finished 4th in his last race, but he had a lot of trouble in that race. He has a high percentage winning jockey. His best turf speed is fastest among today's starters. He has a really good workout on August 27th. And then I like Shawn's pick, number 3, War at Sea. He's won 3 races in a row with Mike Smith in the irons, and Mike Smith returns to ride him again. He's moving up in class, but I like horses when they keep moving up in class. And the horse likes winning, as she's proved in the last 3 races.
Hey,
and
Terry.
Smith, yeah.
Do you know that Mike Smith pictures are available to people who win the Jockey Survivor?
I didn't know that, no.
I see. But you're not eligible.
No, I got knocked out the very first day.
Well, he's eligible. He's just unfortunately knocked out.
No.
All right. Yeah. All right. I'm just being a smarty aleck tonight. All right, Terry, carry on.
Well, listen, Mike Smith does know how to ride this horse and to do what he needs to do to get the horse to win. And then I like number 9, Blankenhoy. I guess that's how you pronounce it. He's done well since arriving from France, finishing in the money 3 out of 4 starts, winning the last race easily. He has a highest last race speed rating and has a good workout on August 28th. And then I like number 1, Cabo Spirit. Has never finished out of the money on the turf, so he likes the turf, winning his last race at Del Mar, a grade 3 contest, and his second win out of 3 races at Del Mar, so he likes the track.
All right, Thomas. Well, today, this race kind of reminds me a little bit of some of the stuff we went through this morning with Kentucky Downs, because I feel like this race is kind of open. Maybe, as I said, there's not a lot of pace in here, so opens up the door for maybe a price to get up to the front and maybe steal it. I'm expecting you to show up here with a nice high odds horse, Tom. Who is it going to be?
Well, it isn't a high odds horse, and we're not going like Kentucky Downs over the river and through the woods type of racing. So
it's not cross country racing.
Yeah, I landed on number 7, Mckinnon, as my top choice. The other people have commented on some of the things. The one thing I saw when I watched the race, he was very keen in the race. I mean, he was just a little too. He used a lot of energy early, and so to me, he needed a race. He's got a great record at Del Mar, 4 starts, 2 wins, and a third. His other 2 races have been interesting. I mean, he ran on in the Sham, which is a grade 3 1 mile race, and didn't do much. They shipped him up to Golden Gate and on the all weather, and he did a nice close and finished second. So to me, I think he's rounding to form. And if you look at that last race, he had some issues. 3, War at Sea. We already talked about Mike Smith, and the path with this horse has been a maiden, an optional claimer at $100,000, and then to a stakes race. And ever since he's moved to the turf, that's been the difference because he really sucked on the dirt.
Mm.
He hasn't raced since June, but the works look okay. And Ron Ellis is not training like he used to. He doesn't have all these horses, but this one's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I'm going to land on Cabo Spirit. Part of it because he won last time out in La Jolla. Part of it is because he lost to my second choice, where it's in that race, and they came back and won. He's never been on the money on the turf, and you can't ignore those horses when you're playing the exotics.
Well, I'm surprised you all ignored the favorite in here, number 9, Balnikov. I don't know. The horse last time out, I know you guys like to look at those trips and horses that have trouble trips. And then that horse had a crazy trip and still managed to pull off the W. You're going to see more in round 2 off the bench out of Balnikov. Plus, as someone told us in our notes, come on, man. Everybody knows you play Philip D'Amato on the grass at Del Mar, especially when he's teamed up with Rispoli. My next choice in that race is number 7, Mckinnon. We've all talked a lot of, you guys all talked a lot about Mckinnon. Came off the bench last time out, ran some better internal numbers from start to finish. Some strong resume. His resume says with strong works between races, he's likely to show more in the second run off the sidelines. Cabo Spirit, as you guys mentioned, loves to run on the grass. 3 wins, 2 seconds in a third and 6 starts. 2 wins and a third in a trio of Del Mar turf goes. And then finally, I'm going to take the shot with Slow Down Andy. I do think that there's not a whole lot of pace in this race. The breeding says should do just fine on grass. I think his numbers were just as good as anybody else's. And if you look at the horses that were on the 2022 Kentucky Derby trail, a lot of them that have gone on to turf, as I mentioned right at the jump there, have had a lot of success when they've made that transition to grass. So I'm expecting him to do just as well today. The next race on the card is the marquee race of the day. It is the $1 million FanDuel TVG Pacific Classic Stakes. Shawn, congratulations on your new position at FanDuel. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're going to do when you're actually doing it?
So I'll be working on the weekends. I still have my full-time job. I'll still be doing this stuff. I'll just be doing some social media and some stuff behind the scenes remotely at home. So I love the opportunity and I'm looking forward to it and looking to grow from there. And I thank all of you guys for putting me in this spot and getting me used to doing this kind of stuff.
All right. Well, congratulations on that, Shawn. Hopefully you can pick a winner in this upcoming race. But before you get a chance to, Terry, well, anyway, guys, let's just kind of get the 900-pound gorilla right off the back here. Does anybody have a chance to do what Cody's Wish did to Jackie's Warrior in Flightline today?
Well, I think there's 2 questions that Flightline has to answer. And one is he going to get any pressure in this race? And if he does, can he withstand that? Because he's never really had any pressure in any of the races he's done. And also, can he go 2 turns? He's done nothing but win effortlessly and is going for a 5th win in a row, and he's stretching out to that 1.25 miles, 2 turns. I don't know. He'll have to answer both those questions. As far as I'm concerned, I'm going to play a pick 4, and I'm going to use 2 other horses besides the 5, hoping that maybe he does not go to the mile.
So if you're going to use 3 out of 5, why not use 5 out of 5?
Well, you could, I guess, but
well, there's 6 horses in the field.
Yeah, I got to take my money, my budget down a little bit because you kind of taught me that keeping under $100. But anyway, I think number 3 Royal Ship might have a chance to close and win like he did his last race in the Grade 2 San Diego Handicap. He is ridden by Mike Smith, and Mike's been really on fire lately.
Hey, Terry, did you know that Mike Smith signed memorabilia goes to the champion of Jockey Survivor?
I do, yeah. That's absolutely correct. I know that, yeah.
Do you have a chance to get any of it or no?
I do not because I was knocked out the very first day. Unlike you who didn't even enter the contest because you were afraid.
Because it's not fair for professional to play with amateurs. That's all.
I know the professionals would have beat you as an amateur. But anyway, Mike Smith in the last 7 days has won 3 out of 6 starts, which is pretty good. And this horse has a good workout on August 28th. And then number 2, Country Grammar, returned from Dubai after winning the Dubai World Cup and finished second as a favorite in the Grade 2 San Diego Handicap. He was beaten by Royal Ship. And he's trained by Bob Bafford and ridden by John Blaskus. And then number 4, Express Train. He won 3 races in a row, finished second as the favorite in his last race, a Grade 2 contest. And then he took a break of 4 months to recoup. He has been working steadily for his return to today's contest, and he's done well in the past when taking a break, finishing well in his first race back.
Thomas, anybody going to get to the better of Flightline, or are you going to go 1 to 5 chalk here?
Nope. I'm taking Country Grammar as my top choice. I think he needed his last race. A lot of them coming back from Dubai need a race. And it's true whether they're going to Europe or they're coming here. And very few of them can handle that transition without having a race in between.
And that one last one wasn't that bad for Country Grammar either.
No, it really was a good race. I mean, and his works continue to be very positive. I mean, this is a horse that's really only one, in my mind, run one bad race, and that was in the Traverse last year. Otherwise, he's really been right there, and he's faced some of the best horses in the world, frankly. And he's proven at this distance, and he's proven that he's a really gutsy horse when it comes down, when the money's on the line, and it's really it's hard for me to really pass on him to say that he is going to get beat. And I think coming off that last race, needing it in my mind, and the works suggest that he's right there. I like Express Train. He's just a gutsy old guy. I mean, let's face it, this is a horse that can run. And coming off the layoff, I think even helps him a little bit here. It would not surprise me to see him win this race. And he likes Del Mar. He's got 5 starts there. He's won 3 of them. There's no question that he can compete at this level, and he has won many times. Flightline is one of those horses that is he like Life is Good. Is the race just a little too far for him? Life is Good found that 1.25 miles not to his liking. A little extra, and couldn't do it. He went out to the front and ran out of gas. And again, he has run the 2 turns. He's done the flat miles, so to speak. And he looked great in the Met. But can he sustain that without and have no pressure? And I think there's enough horses in here that will put some pressure on him.
Shawn, what do you? I'm sorry, you're not done.
I mean, the comparison with him and Baid, they're really one. The turf side of him. Of course, Baid's done more in terms of winning 10 in a row, and now he's stretched out and proved that he could go a distance. Where they send him next, and he's got 1 race left, kind of with a Flightline. Okay, if they wins this one, then he goes to Breeders' Cup and improves it there. Or is he or is he going to get retired earlier? And they paid $1 million for this horse, so they're not going to risk anything beyond because the stud fee, is not going to be cheap.
No, sir, not at all. Shawn, what do you think?
So I do think Flightline wins, although the 1 to 9 price that you're going to get, it's probably a horse you try to beat because of the distance. And also, this horse has overcome 2 bad starts too. So, I mean, in half of his starts, he's getting horrible starts, which is not good. Eventually, that will start costing you. However, this horse crushed every time, no matter what. And I don't think this field is as talented and as deep as other fields this horse is crushed. So,
do you think? I mean, this is a pretty short field, though. It's only 6 horses. He's never faced more than 7.
Yeah, I just think he's beaten better fields than this. But the question really comes down to the start, since half the time he's had a bad start, and then the distance obviously is the big question. But this horse, I don't see anybody beating him. It's more on who you're going to use for second. So I went number 4, Express Train, for second. The only horse in the field who won at Del Mar more than once. He's won 3 times out of the 5 tries with a second. He's been off for 4 months, but John Sheriffs does really well with layoffs like this, and his speed numbers have been improved the last 6 races, in each of the last 6 races. Third, I went number 3, Royal Ship. I actually did have Country Grammar written down, but if you look, I have a hard time taking 4-1 versus 8-1. When Royal Ship beat the Country Grammar last time by over 2 lengths, he also beat him by a neck in April and lost by a head in May. So I feel like you're getting kind of the same horse. So I'm going to take the value there. And then Mike, we talked about Mike Smith. It's surprising here. Not many people are talking about it. Mike Smith's won at 24% so far this meet at Del Mar. So he's riding really well right now.
Yeah.
Yes, he is indeed. Well, for me, I think it's an easy win for Flightline. Questions, I think, are going to be answered in a dominant way. When you look at the internals of the race, he has a huge advantage out of the gate, huge advantage to the half-mile marker, huge advantage to the 6 furlong marker. I don't even think he's going to break a sweat. He's going to be on the lead after 3/4 of a mile. And on top of that, has the best late pace numbers. So the horse is going to be out of the gate first. And then if it is a tight race down the stretch, has a little bit more grit at the end than any other horse in here. I agree with you, Tom. Country Grammar should really take a step forward in that second race back after suffering some jet lag from the Mideast. So I think you're going to see him on the upswing. I think he's the only one in here that probably has a chance to beat him. Express Train, I think this one's going to try to chase Flightline all the way around the track. Has run well at Del Mar with 3 wins in a second and 5 starts. The only concern for me on Express Train is if he does try to go tail to nose with Flightline, he'll be going too fast and probably back up. And then Royal Ship did come off the sidelines of scoring a grade 2 San Diego handicap. Typically makes one move in the middle of the race and try to beat to the front out of the turn. He could be hard to pass in that situation. So we'll see how that plays out. But I do think Flightline answers that question, punches his ticket to Keeneland for the Breeders' Cup in November.
You actually reminded me of another note there. You said about him being battle tested. If this is a close race, he's never come down to the wire where he's had to fight a horse off. So that's another question he would have to answer, because some horses don't know how to respond to that when they've never had to deal with that before. So if he does have somebody hanging on him, that'll be another question
that he'll have to answer. But I think when you look at the pace numbers, he'll have more grit at the end than folks might want to give him credit for. Final race that we're going to cover today is number 11. It is the Del Mar Handicap, presented by the Japan Racing Association. This one is for $300,000, a grade 2, a mile and 3/8 on the card. And for me, of all the races that we covered, race number 9 I thought was pretty open, but I think this one is completely wide open. I think it's probably maybe the best betting race on the card in terms of the big stakes races. You guys agree with that assessment? Yes. Or does anybody have one in here that they're really circling and say, I'm on that one?
No, I think it's a very wide open race. Yes.
Yeah. I went this way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like you did the Yosemite Sam. He went the other way.
I landed on a horse, but it's, I could have gone a couple different ways.
I kept changing my mind.
Not me. I'm firm in my beliefs. But anyway, who did you land on, Thomas?
Number 4, Red King. Ran second last time out, missed by a head. And he was boxed in that race. So jockey had the horse, but he couldn't do. But that race was in June, so we got a little break. I think this is a horse that wants distance. But then again, he's won at 7.5 furlongs. So a little mixture going on. I found it really interesting that all his works are on turf. And so they're specifically working him. And I mean, let's face it, he started 41 times. He's 8. He's got a new jockey. Looks pretty good to me.
He's old man.
So I'm going to put him on top.
All right.
Oh, number 2, Golden Phoenix is my second choice. Never out of the money in his 7 starts. Last out was a third and an optional claimer for 80. Steps up, tries to grade it, but keeps grinding it out, and that's always good to see. He has placed before in a graded race, and he gets Flavian Pratt back up on board, so I think that's nice to see. Finally, I ended up on number 6, Tis Magic. It's got Mike Smith aboard. never run on the turf, but got loads of speed.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be one of those cases where Mike Smith says to the field, "Come and get me."
If you can, for
And
sure.
you may not be able to, because he does have some nice early pace. And
Indeed.
your pace numbers may prove that out.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about my pace numbers in a moment, because I might have a little bit of a different take than you had. What do you think, Shawn?
So I went with number 2, Gold Phoenix. Has been consistent finishing in the trifecta in all 7 of the career races. Gets a jockey change and gets back to Flavien Prat, who rode him to 2 second-place finishes in his second career start and his third career start. And I think this horse should be closer to the pace in this race and have a good shot at the end, closer than normal. And this is another one, besides Tis the Magician, I don't see much pace in here. Second, I went number 10, Master of Foxhounds. This is another one I should get a nice trip. I actually had a hard time taking this horse, but again, the horse hasn't won in a year and a half, but it's consistent, keeps putting good efforts in. This will be a 5th straight race. Juan Hernandez is aboard him, and some good results previous 4. Has been on the rail the last 2 starts, which was a concern. So now finally gets to the outside. And is one of only 2 horses to have a win at this distance. The other is Tom's pick, Red King. And then third, I went number 9, Masterpiece. Likes Del Mar a lot. Will be coming from deep late. That's why I couldn't put this horse on top, because I didn't think there was going to be much pace in this race. But this horse will definitely be coming at the end and will be in the mix.
Fill out the gimmicks. And Terry, how do you see this race at the finish line?
Well, let me say, first of all, I like marathon races, races a mile and 3/8 or mile and a half, mile and 5/8. And I think in this case, Tis the Magician is going to try turf for the first time, but he likes to go to the front and lead the race all the way to the finish line for the win. He finished second at Del Mar in his last race, a mile and a half contest, and cuts back to a mile and 3/8. I think that's what he really needs. And if Master of Foxhounds does not pressure too much, he'll do all right. Now, I like number 2, Gold Phoenix. Has finished in the money in all 7 of his career races, winning 2 of those starts. He's trained by Phil D'Amato, and he's ridden by Flavien Prat. Then number 4, Red King. He's finished in 8 out of 12 races at Del Mar, so he likes the track. And he finished in the money in 6 out of 9 starts at today's distance, winning at both of those situations twice. And then number 10, Master of the Foxhounds. Has the best turf speed among today's starters. And he has a trainer jockey combination in the last 14 days that's won 2 out of 5 races, plus a second.
So for me, as I look at this race, Shawn, I know you said you had a hard time going with them. I really didn't have a hard time going with Master of Foxhounds. This guy usually, if you look at the resume, picks it up in the second start off a layoff. And when we look at the early pace, I know maybe it doesn't look like it on paper, but when I run the numbers, he does have an early advantage over the rest of these horses. He has a plus advantage, which should put him as maybe as much as a length ahead of everybody else. The record at Del Mar for me is a little bit of a concern with just 1 win and nothing else in 4 outings. But when Master of Foxhounds is engaged early, he tends to finish well. Tis a Magician, if Master of Foxhounds doesn't do what I think he's going to do, could get away with an easy lead. Going to try turf for the second time. The first time really didn't go very well at all, but the lone race on the off track tells me that maybe the horse might like to surf a switch. Haywood's Beach, in terms of pace, has the most late pace in this field. So I think you'll see that horse, and it won't be all that far off the pace either. So I think you're going to see the Haywood's Hay. I'm surprised you don't have that one, Terry, Haywood's Beach, but I think you'll see this one take it up a notch in his second race following a brief rest. And then finally, a Masterpiece could be a horse for the Del Mar course, has a win in a very close second in 2 starts. Last time out, he ran his second triple-digit speed number in his last race. So the worry to me, though, is the last time he came off the bench to pop a big number, he did regress sharply in round 2. If he does not regress, he's probably an easy winner in this spot. That's the way I see it. All right, gentlemen. So that wraps up our view at Del Mar for this weekend. Tomorrow, Tom and I will be off because there is no Foreign Friday this week, but we should return next week.
We get our Foreign Friday today.
this morning. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I mean, Kentucky Downs, I think, qualifies as a definitely a Foreign Friday type of track.
Certainly paid like a Foreign Friday track would typically pay. Absolutely, for sure. It is the last weekend of racing at Saratoga. So Eddie C and Chris P, it took me the entire Saratoga meet to get their initials in the right order, but they'll be back on Saturday for spot play. So make sure you check that out at 9 a.m. Eastern. Hopefully the show doesn't go more than an hour, and they can actually put it on our channel this time around. So that's always a goal when you're working for Horse Racing Radar, to put the TV show on Horse Racing Radar. What do you guys think, right? And then
Where did it end up?
I think on Chris's station, because he couldn't download it on ours.
6
and
hours,
then
20 minutes.
It was like 75 minutes apparently, and the most you can do is download 60 minutes. I don't know if I have to put him on make him like an administrator or something to go beyond that. Shawn and I, as I mentioned, along with Jared tomorrow. So that should be fun. Shawn and I will get it. We won't have to talk that much because we'll have Jared with us. So we'll have to fight to get a word in edgewise. But we're going to preview the NFL, even though I'm kind of confused in what the format and the timing is going to be. But I'm sure we'll get it right. And then Monday, Terry and I will return for the horse racing today at Parks. Right, Terry?
That's correct. Yeah. It'll be a fun day.
Indeed, for sure. So no matter what you're doing for the rest of this weekend, one final thing we do have over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet, we will absolutely 100% have our wagering guide for the Pacific Classic. So make sure you see the link. They're all over the place at horseracingtoday.net. So go on over to horseracingtoday.net, click on a Guaranteed Tip Sheet link so they know where you came from. And then there's one other thing I wanted to bring up, Shawn, but I can't remember what it is. So we'll be off Monday night in terms of the Horse Center because of Labor Day. And anyway, that's about it for me tonight. It'll come to me right as soon as I hang up. But until we get together again on Monday, Terry and I, we hope that no matter what you do, it ends up in one certain place, and that is in the
Winner's Circle.
Wow, that was very good, just like the Beatles. Have a great night.
While we get it right.
It's indeed.